All right, I'll go ahead and get started. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, mostly here. If you do have your mic on, I'd ask if you'd mute it because I did get a little bit of an echo there. There will be a Q&A session at the end. We can all chat then for sure. I don't really have like a whole lot of stuff to present to you all. I mostly want to answer whatever burning questions you have, but I do want to give you a good understanding of what the program is, what ISE is, in case you don't know. So this is an information session for the Master of Science in Industrial and Systems Engineering online degree program at the University of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. I am Dr. Jacob Reed. I'm an assistant professor in the ISE department. And I'm also the program director for the online pathway of the MSISE degree plan. Miss Leanne Els, who is also here in the chat, is the Assistant Director of Engineering Graduate Programs at Speed School. So not just our program, but other graduate programs at Speed School. You will be very familiar with myself and Leanne as you're in your time as a MSISE student at U of L. And I'll have contact information for both of us at the end. And I'll invite Leanne come in a little bit later, and I'm sure I'll have some questions myself that she'll be able to help answer along the way. So let's get into it. First question I want to pose is why get an MSISE degree? And one of the big selling points I'm going to tell you about is pivoting your career or adding versatility to your skill set to allow you to have the ability to really go where you want and do what you want when you go there. And so one of the great things about industrial systems engineering is not only do the skills that we have apply to virtually any industry, but they also allow you to do fit in a variety of different roles within each industry. So example I'll give is in manufacturing. That's just one industry, and there are several different industries in that manufacturing exists within. You could be interested in quality control, manufacturing processes, things like that, or you could be interested in work design and ergonomics from a human factors perspective. So whether you want to work in manufacturing or finance or healthcare or the defense industry, there are tools ISE can give you to be successful in those industries and be valuable to those industries in a variety of different ways. And I should have said it at the top, but I didn't. This meeting is being recorded and transcribed for those that couldn't attend. Just so you're aware, in case we do, when we get to Q&A, if you ask any questions, it is being recorded for the benefit of those that might want to view this later. I see the note from Leanne. She has to leave at 5:30, so I will definitely have her time to give a spiel before I move to Q&A after the end of this session presentation. And I've worked with a few of our MSISE students or graduates that's really what they're looking to do with MSISE. One in particular in the healthcare realm was very specialized in her skills in the healthcare industry, but wanted to maybe potentially move outside of the healthcare industry, but her current skill set didn't allow her to do that. So she's using ISE as a way to build upon her skill set and allow her to apply those skills that she has in healthcare into other industries. And when I say diverse backgrounds are welcome in our degree program, I mean it. Whether you're engineering or non-engineering, whether you come from a STEM background or you don't come from a STEM background, we admit students of all types. Really what we're looking for to be able to admit you to the program and say, yes, you're ready to handle the coursework that we'll have for you in this degree plan is, do you have at least Calculus 1 completed at some point in a college career, an undergraduate program, or just in an online program you took on your own. There are several ways you can do this. The few that we recommend for you to consider would be number one, and not necessarily the most preferred, is actually taking it here at U of L. You would apply as a non-degree student to take calculus because this is a prerequisite. You wouldn't be a degree seeking student yet while finishing Calc 1. You could do that. You could utilize the local community college system that has a Calculus 1 course, or there's a really economic and flexible option at Straighterline at their website for General Calc 1 that a lot of our applicants and a lot of our students have used and have enjoyed it and found it useful. That's if you don't already have calculus, right? Some of you may already have calculus on your transcripts. That's great. You don't have to worry about this. You already meet that prerequisite. And beyond just the calculus requirement, we always look at holistic transcript or holistic applications, not just at your transcripts. If there's something that's lacking in one area, but we can look at another area and say, like really strong work history, where you've done a lot of relevant work on your job that's related to the field of ISE, that's something else to consider. So we do handle things on a case-by-case basis in this program. A couple of really cool, I find these really cool just because they're, about me and my field and your future field, hopefully, is some data on where ISE stands as a career field in terms of, well, really several factors. So US News and World Report puts out this best jobs report every year. And last year's report, I don't think we have this year's report yet, put ISE at the best engineering job, the number 11th STEM job, and the number 19th overall job, regardless of being in STEM or not. So that's really good. That's incredible. And this ranking isn't just, based on one factor. It's based on several factors. I think I counted them up. It was something like 40 or 50 factors they used to rank different jobs and career fields. One of those factors being the number of jobs, which is important. You want to make sure you have a job moving forward, especially in the world of AI and job uncertainty and knowing whether a job's even going to exist in the future, which I can talk more about later. It always comes up in the Q&A, AI questions. I'm more than happy to take those. The other note about jobs is the projected job growth. Now, this other data comes from a different source, and I have both the links on here. I'll give you access to these slides after our meeting. I have a shared version to give you, and you can access these and read more about what it is I'm referencing here. But essentially what it's saying on the right here is if all expected jobs are projected to grow about 3% annually or over a 10-year period, the engineering field's expected to grow at about a 7% rate. IEs and ISEs are expected to grow at an even higher rate than that. So not only are there a lot of jobs available, but they continue to grow. And I think, and I can't, confirm this is why, but a suspicion I have is because ISEs have the tools that businesses need and are always in demand. And that is doing more with less, being efficient with the resources you have, finding ways to save and cut costs. These are all the tools that businesses always want, right? Especially in the world of, AI, where, we're trying to do more and more every day with the resources that we have. Okay, so now I'm going to reel it into ISE here at U of L, MSISE here at U of L. So we have two study pathways. One's 100% online. Most likely the reason all of you all are here. There is an on-campus pathway. I won't talk a lot about the on-campus pathway here. If it comes up in the Q&A, that's fine. But I have it here as a reference so we can make comparison. So the online program, all of our ISE courses are 8-week courses, and there are 3 semesters in a year and 2 halves to each semester, 2 8-week halves. So we'll distribute our coursework across those 6 halves or terms, some people call them, throughout the year. It's designed so that you can do this while you're working, right? The courses are asynchronous in the fact that you don't have to come sit in a lecture at a particular time of day, a particular day of the week. You can watch the lectures at your own speed. Within reason, there are typically in most courses weekly milestones, let's say, where you need to view that week's material, do that week's homework, and whenever the exams are, do those. But most courses are structured on a week-by-week basis like that. In comparison to the on-campus, which are, of course, on campus, you're expected to be there at certain times, certain days for the full semester length. The other difference is not every single course that we have on campus is available in an online format. We just haven't developed every single course yet. However, there is still a sufficient saturation of ISE courses. You can complete your entire degree with ISE courses or not, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. For the most part, both pathways are the same, has the same admission standards. You get the same degree. Your degree is not going to say online on there. It's going to say MSISE from the University of Louisville. It's the same thing. Within those two course pathways, there are 3 course plan options. Since you all are mostly, or you all are all online seeking, more than likely, course only option is going to be the best pathway for you. That's not to say you can't take the project or thesis based, but course only tends to be the best. So I won't spend a lot of time talking about project based or thesis based. I'll talk about the course only path. If you think that's something that interests you, we can talk more about it in Q&A or one-on-one. As a student, I would be your advisor. We would talk about it then as well. Or if you need to meet with me one-on-one to decide if this is the right program for you based on that, we could also chat about that as well offline. So I'll talk more about the course option in a little bit. By the way, I do have a fan on in my room, so if anybody hears a constant fan noise, someone just raise your hand and let me know, and I'll take care of that. Within that course only degree plan, you can customize your education in a couple of different ways. One way is through focus areas, and this is just a way for you to choose, I want to focus on human factors, or I want to focus on supply chain and logistics, or data analytics and operations research. So we have a select number of courses in each focus area. You don't have to take all of them. You just take a certain number of them to be able to claim that focus area. Again, not something that shows up on your transcript or your degree, just something to help you cater your coursework selections. The other way we have to customize your education is through certificates, and you can actually earn these certificates without taking any extra courses along the way to earning your degree. Up to 3, actually. We can work out ways to get you 3 certificates along the way to your degree within our department. You can apply outside certificates if the courses for those certificates would be approved for your degree. So I have an example on here of the data science certificate from the computer science program as one of those examples. This is just a look at the curriculum that's involved in our degree. It's not to say you're going to take all these courses, because that would be way more than 30 credit hours, but I just want to show you how it's structured. And now this is a view of the coursework curriculum to come, meaning this will be what it looks like in about a year, year and a half, only because of one course that's up here in the top right, which is the systems engineering course. That one's not quite available, not developed yet, but as a systems engineering program, got to have a systems engineering course. So that is planned in the future to be in the curriculum. But as of now, you have 2 core courses. That's 6 credit hours. That gets you started. Then if you do choose a focus area, which you don't have to, you could be more of a generalist, but if you want to focus on a particular topic, you would choose 9 credit hours from one of those focus areas. Say human factors, you chose 3 of those classes you wanted to take. So now you're at 6 plus 9, 15 credit hours. Then, like I said, I'm going to focus on the course only option. You have, this shows 12, but that's because of the systems engineering course. You would have 15 technical electives, which could be ISE courses. It could be some other non-ISE technical elective that we've approved for your degree plan. That could be some other engineering course. That could be a non-engineering course. We would just handle that on a case-by-case basis. So you have 5 courses or 15 credit hours of ISE courses you'll take. 2 prescribed, the other 3 are up to you. And then 5 technical electives that could, but don't have to be ISE courses as well. You could also have a couple of different focus areas, which doesn't mean you're, not getting one focus area or the other. It just means you took enough courses in both, say, human factors and data analytics and operations research. So there's several ways to customize your degree. We do have scholarships available. We handle these on a semester by semester basis. Students who are eligible based on GPA, we look at applications every semester, and if you qualify, we would award that scholarship based on merit and GPA, and then it would be based on a percentage of credit hours taken, how much was actually received in scholarship. I do want to note, it is important to remember this, that these are available to students who are paying the full tuition rate of $850 an hour. These are competitive, they are limited, and so we try to use them in the best way we possibly can. You apply for these by going to the form located at the link here on this slide, which again, you'll have access to these slides afterwards. Another note here is that if you have any existing scholarships, which I don't know if anybody here is, I do know we have at least one or two Kentucky folks on the registration list today. But if you did have existing scholarships, you could potentially use them towards this degree if the guidelines of your scholarship allowed for that. So that would again be dependent on what scholarships you have. So that's my presentation. Like I said, I wanted to keep it short and really leave the opportunity for questions. But before I open up the mics and the chat for questions, this is my contact information. This is Leanne's contact information. You'll be dealing with both of us a lot in your time at U of L. But I'll open it up to Leanne if she had anything she wants to add or present before we open up for questions.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Good job. Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. You can either turn your mic on or put it in the chat.
Yeah, and if you want to turn your video on, but I say that every time and it doesn't happen. That just makes me feel good that I said it. Okay, so I see 2 hands up, and Teams is so awesome it puts numbers on them. So let's go with the order. Okay, I'm gonna butcher it, but Sejun Lee.
Oh, my name is Jun-Hun.
Yeah, I see you. I'm gonna give. We got Sejun that I messed up again. You are muted.
Hello, sir. Hey,
Hello.
I am Warren Lee from U.S. Army, sir. I am working for drone manufacturing and then AI development for the drones. So, it's national security side. And right now, as we are pretty busy with, how the war is going, so I thought this program is gonna be very helpful with my field and national security, and especially this is online, so it is more flexible on my time. So my question is, so because of there's a program with U of L, which I'm very thankful. Is there any chance if I'm less competitive because of the I pay less money compared to other people due to the program?
What was the question? I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Oh, it's just saying there's a program from U of L, sir.
Yes. Yes.
And then.
So if you are active duty, you will pay $250 per credit hour. But you have to submit your orders, and we go through that once you've been admitted. Everything's in your admission email for you to do.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Because I really need this course because like many people in the military, they just get the degree for just a heck of it and get promoted. But I think it's really gonna help me to make even more crazier drones, and then mass manufacturing.
Yeah, it'll all be in the welcome email. So the university is so gracious where they, for qualifying active duty students, which means 180 plus days active duty, you would pay $250 per credit hour on tuition. Now the student is responsible for the fees that would be associated with that, but the tuition is covered by the military. Yes.
Okay, that's good. My background is in computer science, so I have, I'm done with calculus, all that. May I speak one of y'all after this so I can have some, that the courses I'm interested in.
Yeah,
I just need some help.
Yeah, please reach out and we can chat about courses in the program. Yeah, please do.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Next hand that was up was Juhoon.
Yeah. So I'm also a working professional too. I live in Prospect and I work out of Elizabethtown, and I'm thinking about going back to school, get myself master's, and I thought this was an excellent choice. And my question is, I really want to have, I want the in-person class, but I also want the flexibility too. And I wonder, do you offer classes in evening or even on the weekend?
Evening uh, in our program, no, there aren't any evening classes. There aren't any weekend classes on campus. Now, there are weekend and online classes at U of L. I don't know the availability of them at the graduate level, which is what you would need for our program. And I don't know the availability of technical courses that we would be able to approve for this degree programs. There are like one or two ISE courses that are usually scheduled like later in the day. I wouldn't call them night or evening classes, but I have seen courses that start at like 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. depending on the semester, but that's not really late like evening classes that I think you're
Oh,
looking for.
I see. Okay. Also, well, can I go part-time? I can take maybe one class per semester. I kind of, stretch it far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You can take as little as one class in a semester. So that's a 3 credit hour, 8 week online course, and maintain your candidacy, residency, whatever the word is for that, as a graduate student. You can take up to 12 credit hours in a semester, which in our program that means you're taking 2 classes in the first half and then 2 more classes in the second half. Usually, that can vary depending on the student, but that's the most even distribution that I would recommend usually. So as little as one per semester, and you don't have to take classes in the summer. There are courses available in the summer as electives, but those are kind of the range of options you have as far as course load
That's
or
cool.
workload.
Well,
Yeah.
also, ultimately, my goal is to get myself PhD. After master's, can I go up to PhD level?
Of course, if you apply and are admitted into the PhD program, I think I'm not the person to ask, even though I did get my PhD from U of L. If you have to have a master's, I think you can go straight bachelor's into PhD, but there is different requirements for students who already have a master's versus those who only have a bachelor's to want to get a PhD. But
I see. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I got my answers. Thank you so much. Rest, I will follow with you and the other
Yeah.
administrator. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please do. And when you do follow up to me, if you want information on the PhD program, let me know and I'll give you the contact information for the PhD program director in our department.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. The next person I saw was Steven.
Hey, good afternoon. So you mentioned briefly, of course, your recommendation is to look at course-only work, but are there any like distinct differences, advantages to say going with a thesis option? Can you talk at least briefly about what might be the advantage of that or disadvantage, I guess, other than, having to defend the thesis?
So for example, when I was a master's student here, I did the project option. And what that did and what it's going to do for students now is it's going to replace one course because it's 3 credit hours if you do the project. If you do the thesis, that thesis is going to take up 2 courses in your degree plan or 6 credit hours. So that's just it is what it is. Those are the facts. As far as the benefit, the pros and cons, that's gonna, like, the pros and cons for you are gonna maybe be different than the pros and cons for Juhoon that we just talked to. If you really have a project or thesis topic you really want to pursue, if for example, he was interested in a PhD, he might actually want to pursue the thesis option because that's going to better prepare him for doing research, which is what getting a PhD is going to require you to do a lot of. But to do a thesis or project option, one, I wouldn't start any student off on either of those paths. I'll start everyone off on the course only path. Then after a semester or two, you've had some courses, especially some ISE courses, right? I wouldn't put someone in thesis or project if they haven't even had an ISE course yet. Once you've had a few ISE courses and you've got a feel for the material, maybe you've built a good relationship with one of the instructors and you've identified someone who's going to sponsor your project or thesis and be your advisor for that, then we can start talking about what that looks like for you on your degree plan. So I would definitely handle it case by case basis. I would say if you want to go PhD, thesis will help you with that. If you have a really good project you want to work on and you have identified an ISE faculty advisor for that project, then we could consider it.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. You know, full disclosure, I come from an ISE background. That is my bachelor's. So this is my field. I am
excellent.
Yeah, so I was just interested in what you thought the advantages and whatnot might be. So thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps answer, and I'm glad to see another IE/ISE in here. So the next question from Alan Gonzalez.
Hey, how's it going, Dr. Reed?
Hey.
So I have a slew of questions here, if you don't mind.
Yep.
I'll get right into it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of quantitative rigor should students expect in this program?
Yeah. So 1 to 10. That answer will depend on which path you take. If you take the human factors path, you're going to still need quantitative skills to do some of the stuff in those courses, but it won't be to the level of, for example, either of the data analytics and OR focus area or logistics and supply chain focus areas, because courses like operations research methods and predictive analytics and not so much decision support systems, but primarily those two, system simulation, all the courses in those two focus areas, they're going to deal with a lot more quantitative rigor. So for someone who's doing maybe human factors approach, maybe for some of their electives, they take psychology courses or something like that. Maybe a 6, somewhere in there. I'm really throwing a number out that's generalized, but in the other two, I would definitely say the quantitative rigor is more closer to an 8 maybe. But we're not doing Calc 4. We're not doing like that level of math, number theory or anything like that. So yeah, it would depend on the path you chose.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. My next question is, for students without a engineering or STEM background, what additional math beyond Calc 1 would meaningfully improve success in this program? We just spoke about the level of quantitative rigor. I don't have a STEM background, but I'm come from a business major, but I'm currently in Calc, and I should posture to finish differential equations by next fall. Because I originally was looking for a systems engineering program. Due to the field I work in now, my employer is going to pay for it. So my question is, for people like me, I guess it kind of depends on which path you want to take. I assume would depend on what math you need beyond Calc 1.
I think if you're taking DE, you're pretty well prepared for this degree program if you're doing well and feeling comfortable with that content. The only other thing I would maybe mention is you have a probability and statistics course you're required to take in this program. If you've had a prior prob and stats course that maybe was at the undergraduate level, or something similar to that, that would help gauge your preparedness for the material in the quantitative reasoning courses here. And then if you do choose one of the more analytical paths, DAOR or logistics and supply chain, then linear algebra, if you've ever had linear algebra or a related linear algebra field, those would also help.
All right, awesome, thank you. My next question is, are there any specific physics concepts that students should have, or not really?
Let me look over coursework to think about that.
This program does not require physics.
Yeah,
Or
we don't
physics
require
major.
physics.
So
I'm just
you're-
trying to think if,
I'm only asking because I'm not a STEM background, and I know that's
Yeah.
that's obviously the bread and butter for the
it's not
undergrads.
gonna, it's not gonna come into play nearly as much as if you think of like a mechanical engineering degree or a civil engineering degree where you need to know like, how do I make this thing move or not move, depending on the application. Yeah, I wouldn't say it is a vital knowledge base to have for our program.
All right, thank you. My next question, I'm almost done, so sorry. Are we expected to know certain modeling software before applying? Like CAD or systems or Minitab or MATLAB, stuff like that?
Excel. Excel's good.
Excel? All right.
Minitab, we'll use Minitab. I expect you to know it coming in. I would say we don't do a lot of like, well, Prob and Stats will use Minitab. That's the first course you're going to take. That's the first IC course you're going to take. We will use Minitab in there. The course material, I do believe, does do some walkthrough Minitab. So it'll say, here's the probability and statistics thing we're learning. Here's how you do the formula. Here's how you calculate what you're looking to do. Here's how we can also do it in Minitab. So it's kind of built like that. So I'm not necessarily expecting someone to be a wizard or expert in Minitab. And then the other modeling software for like system simulation, we'll go through in the class how to use that software. CAD might get used in like facility location and layout because we're talking about designing a facility, but it's not required to be able to go through that course. So for example, when you get to the project in that course, if there's a team member on your team that has a background in CAD, you might give them that at part of the assignment, but it wouldn't necessarily be required.
All right, thank you. That kind of ties into this next one. Programming languages that students should have before applying. Would you recommend like a basic intro to Python class before applying if you haven't taken that yet?
I would recommend Intro to Python course just for your general knowledge, not even necessarily for this degree program. But I think there is a course that is using more Python based, which might be the Decision Support Systems course. I would say it would not hurt, but it is not a requirement.
All right. And my last question is, if we do choose a project option, would that require students to visit campus if they're taking it online?
Not necessarily. Are you just by chance a Kentucky local, Louisville local, or not?
No, I'm actually active duty.
Where?
But I'm active duty. Air Force.
Active duty. Okay. Yeah. So.
But I only asked because obviously we have leave and stuff. So like I'm willing to take leave to travel to campus, if that makes sense. Because I looked at Georgia Tech program, they had a similar requirement.
No, we wouldn't ask you to come to campus. You're never not welcome to come to campus. Let me say that first. We always like having students at campus. And I've had actually surprisingly a couple of students in the online program drive to Louisville from out of town, and I've given them a tour of campus myself. So that's always fun, but no, not required. The online program offers those options in an online format, expecting you to be an online remote student. So we would work with the student to find a way to make that work in an online setting. Now, if you were doing a project and say it was like company based, and the company was in Louisville, you might have to come to Louisville to visit them, to meet with them, to talk about the project. But we could probably, if we were doing the project option, we would try to find a way to do that where you didn't have to come to Louisville to do that.
All right. Awesome. That answers all of my questions. Thank you, sir.
We made it through the lightning round. Good job. Go team.
All right, I'm gonna have to log off here. Can I kind of just ask? I heard a couple things here. So for the online program, almost all of the students, I don't know if anyone's ever done a project in the online program.
Yeah.
They definitely haven't done a thesis. So if you're doing the online program, especially active duty, deployments happen. We're seeing that now. The students are doing the course only option. So you would end up taking 10 courses. You would work with Dr. Reed on those courses. But if you want to do a project, it is 100% online, no requirement to come to campus. And like he said, unless you choose to, but just kind of keep that in mind that you can do the 10 courses in order to complete this degree. I have to run. I have an appointment I got to take off to. So you're in great hands here, and hopefully I'll see your all's applications in the future, and he'll go over all that with you if you have any questions.
Yep. Thank you, Leanne.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. Next question I have is Amanda.
Hi, so my question is, I currently work in a manufacturing engineer tech role, and so my company is going to pay for this. I know that some schools will kind of defer payment until the end of the semester when it's a company reimbursement or a company paid thing. I don't know how it works with U of L in terms of if a company is paying for it or like what that looks like.
I think it's still, regardless whether that is the case or is not the case, tuition's due at the beginning of the semester. I had another question similar to this a while ago, and I wasn't sure. And from what I remember, the answer I got was it is processed at the beginning of the semester and it's due like, I don't know, a week or two into that semester or something like that. It's unfortunate Leanne had to leave because that was a great one for her for her to answer. Yeah, I'm not aware of, and I think told no when I asked about a tuition deferral program at U of L.
And then, so if the company, because I think my company might pay straight up, I have to confirm with the HR department. If it's coming straight from a company, is it being per se processed? I don't say the process the same way. Like, are you still sending it, I guess, to the same method than if you were a student or paying for it? Like, I know sometimes there's forms you have to fill out on the college's end, and whatnot.
I don't know. I've never dealt with that, so that would be a good question that I will ask Leanne about and send a follow-up message to this group of attendees because I have everybody's contact information, and I'll get an answer for that.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. That was my main question. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Let me write this down before I take the next question. All right, so the next question, maybe the last question, is Andrew.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for hosting. I've got a couple questions, but I'll go quick. First, I'm curious how collaborative your online program is compared to like an IE undergrad, because my bachelor's program was extremely like team-oriented. Coursework included a lot of teamwork and projects. So I'm curious how U of L's online asynchronous program either recreates this dynamic or works around it or just kind of ignores it. Just curious what you guys do.
Yeah, so I'll speak to the courses I can speak to. But in general, our coursework in the online program is meant to mirror the on-campus coursework as much as possible. Obviously, there's some things have to be adjusted to fit it in an online format and also condense it from 16 down to 8 weeks. So, for example, courses I've facilitated, facility location and layout has a group project that is handled over the course of the term, since it's an 8-week term, which is a semester-long or term-long group project on designing a facility using all the things learned throughout the course from start to finish. Other courses, for example, one I'm facilitating right now, production and inventory, should say production inventory systems. The name has changed. There is an option to work individually or in teams if two people want to work on the course project in that course. So there are opportunities sprinkled throughout. Understandably, it's difficult to meet in an online asynchronous format program by design. It's difficult for students to meet throughout the semester to work on things because, so-and-so's active duty in Alaska, so-and-so lives in Ecuador, so-and-so lives in Europe, which is an exact situation I've had before. And so all different time zones, all different schedules, right? So it's kind of I wouldn't say it's just ignored, but I would say it has to be handled a little differently than on campus, where students are on campus reliably every week and can meet to work on projects. So the expectations are also a little different too. So there's elements of it. It's maybe, if I had to be honest, probably not as much as an on-campus program, but as much as it can be given the circumstance of what we're trying to do with an online program. Hopefully that gives you an idea of an answer.
Right, of course. Yeah, I was just wondering where the department stood like philosophically on it. But yeah, I understand the realistic angle
Yeah.
of that. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second question.
Go ahead.
So looking at this curriculum slide you've got up right now, obviously I don't expect every one of those elective courses to be offered in every term.
Correct.
However, is there like an anticipated schedule of course availability, and like how far in advance is that issued out if it does exist?
Yep. So I will give you a little bit of a visual answer as much as I can here. So this is the system we're currently using. I don't think there's any proprietary information on the screen. You all will forgive me if there is anyway. So this is the current system they're using to have people in my position and students look for courses and choose the courses they're going to take, which is a very new system. I am starting to really like it, especially better than our older system, which was old. So for example, you see here in this drop down, I can see all the way up to spring 2027. I can see all the way as far back as spring 2022. Not that you all would need to see it back to spring 2022, but so as of right now, April 1st, 2026, I can see the upcoming summer semester, the upcoming fall semester, and then next year's spring semester. So if I'm looking at the summer, a lot of you all, if you applied, would probably be applying as early as fall. And I'm looking at engineering management courses now, but if I wanted to look at our ISE courses, I could see and I have my filters also set to show online asynchronous courses, but if I were to, deselect that, I'd see the on-campus courses as well. So I'm seeing all of the online asynchronous, which just happen to be graduate courses, but I'll go ahead and select that to be safe. So here's all the courses that are going to be offered, and it's not evident from this screen, but as soon as I click on one, I can see when it's offered, and that tells me whether it's a first half or second half course. So that's how a student would typically go about seeing it. And this information became available back in like March, I think. So you could see a year ahead as of March of this year. That being said, sometimes things change. Sometimes courses get dropped or added late. Try not to drop courses unless they have very, very, very low enrollment. Like, one person signs up for a course. We can't justify offering the course if that happens as a university from a business perspective, I guess. But sometimes courses get added late, and I usually send out a notice to students like, hey, this course just became available. If anybody wants to take it, let me know and I'll get you signed up for it. But there was another thing I wanted to mention about this. Oh, for ISE courses, 560, which is that core course you have to take, it's offered year-round in the first half of every semester. It's not offered in the second half, but it's offered in the first half, spring, summer, fall. So that whenever you get admitted to the program, you typically have the opportunity to take 560. Now, we do accept mid-semester applications. So if someone got admitted in the second half of a semester, you're not going to be able to take 560 to start, but as soon as the first half of that next semester starts, you would. Pretty much all the other ISE courses are offered once a year. So they're offered in one semester for one half. So for example, this 621 course, the facility design course that I am facilitating that course. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends on the year. It's offered in the fall, only in the first half of the fall. It's not offered any other time of the year. And that's how pretty much all the other ISE courses are, other than 560. Yeah, I think that answers the question. Sometimes I just talk too long and forget what question I was answering.
No, that was great. Thank you. That's
Okay.
all I got. Thanks again.
Yeah, and I think before you become a student, you might be able to access this page. I don't think you have, because I'm not even logged in right now. So I think if you go to this website, courseleafpath.louisville.edu, you can check out classes. If this helps, I'll just put it in the chat as a link. Make a decision on whether you want to, if this program's going to work for you based on course availability. There you go. There's a resource to help you make that decision. All right. Are there any other questions? I think the only hands up are from, unless you have more questions that you realized after we chatted.
No, that was all for me.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. If there aren't any other questions, I do appreciate every single one of you coming and bringing questions. That tells me you're interested in the program. Not only that you came here, but you brought questions. So I will leave you with a little bit, this is probably something normal people do at the beginning of presentations, but I'll do it at the end because it's the least important thing that you're going to hear today. I am a 3-time graduate of the University of Louisville. If I could turn my camera around and show you, there's the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, the doctorate degree. I graduated in 2024, a couple years ago, and have been teaching since. So got a little bit less than 2 years of teaching under my belt, which is exciting. It is an interesting dynamic being a student at a place for over 10 years and then trying to be a faculty with those people that have been your teachers for 10 years. But it's working pretty well. I teach on campus and online courses, a variety of topics. I mean, I've taken all the classes. I can teach them pretty well. I'm not just a university person. I have worked I was doing the math before this, so I could tell you, and I've, had 5 thoughts since then, so I've forgotten, but I think I calculated about 5-ish years of work experience. Part of that's been a co-op because the undergraduate program here has a required co-op program, which I think is fantastic that they do that. A couple years of work experience between degrees, a few years of work experience as a researcher. So I've worked in a variety of ISE roles and teach a variety of ISE courses. So if you have any, even if it's just a general question about ISE, I could be a good resource for you to ask questions. But as the program director for the online program, I can also answer questions about that. There is a question in the chat about the deadline for the next application. So the university does have semester deadlines, but we don't really follow them. Sorry, I'm fidgeting with my desk and it's distracting me. We do allow late admits, so I've been admitting people up to a couple weeks before a semester starts. I don't recommend it because then we have to kind of rush to advise you to figure out what classes you're going to take. And if you're taking electives like in the summer, if I was to admit one of you all in the summer right now, we would have to rush to figure out like what electives are you going to take. You would take the probability and statistics course for sure, but if you're going to take any other electives, they might already be full. So there's not a harsh deadline. I would just recommend giving yourself maybe a month from applying because it's got to go through several different desks before it even gets to mine. But as soon as it gets to mine, I try to approve or reply to applications within 24 hours. Sometimes I get to them even quicker than that. But as far as a deadline, the deadlines are on the U of L website. But just keep in mind that we do allow an undisclosed amount of time after that where we still apply people. It just becomes a bit of a rush to get you into classes. And like I mentioned, we can't admit people to a second half of a semester. So if it's right now, if you want to start in summer, the second half, that would actually be a lot more feasible than trying to start someone in summer term 1. All right, if there's no more questions, then we can wrap up. A question about the second term. You're already a summer applicant. I recognize the name. I think we've accepted, so congratulations. Welcome to the Ville, as I wrote in my email. As you're looking at classes, Willie, just work with me on what courses are still available. As Leanne has noted, there is a separate application window for non-EM students in those EM courses. So if you want to take a second term course, just work with me. We can most likely find a course for you.
Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you all for your time. All right. Take care, everyone. I'll stick around until everyone's gone and questions are no longer being written in the chat. Sir? Yeah, we could chat. Let's do it offline. Because this is being recorded. I can stop the recording.